Hello folks, and welcome to Linux for Seniors. I highly encourage that you subscribe. None of my videos will be less than 2 minutes. I started my new channel on middle of February, and this is now March, and I'm already up to 50 videos. My previous YouTube site I had over 450, so it's not the first time I've been doing this. I've been around Linux for over 25 years, been around computers for about 30. So I started Linux for Seniors because I think there's a need for that, to slow down a little bit and explain things in a longer manner, and also for new users of Linux. Linux is for any age, folks. More importantly, subscribe or at least bookmark this. You can also watch this on your smart TVs. So I'm going to talk about one application today, and then I'm going to talk about toward the end of this video, I'll give you a brief tour of my YouTube site. At the same time, I'll show you how to resize text and also the material inside of the web browsers, like icons, for instance. All right, and then I'll talk about there's two flavors of Lollipop, no pun intended, in your Pop Shop software manager. So I've heard the stories out there. I've been around Linux for a long time. A lot of people prefer a certain application. They prefer a certain Linux distro or distribution, that kind of thing. Everybody has a different preference, and I appreciate that. All I'm going to show you today is this application and show you what it has. This particular application is a music player, and I understand there are plenty of music players out there. This one, if you take your music files and organize them in a folder, and like MP3s, for instance, or WMAs. Those are the examples on my show today. And you throw them into a folder. You don't even need album art. This particular thing will import those songs automatically and start grabbing the album art automatically off the internet, providing you got an internet connection. So I'm going to talk about that. I'll talk about the two versions in the Pop Shop. I'll also give you a demo on the web browser, enlarging text and also other stuff there, and I'll give you a quick tour of my YouTube site at the same time. So let's open up, actually let's start with the file manager. So I have these home folder, and I don't like the size of the icons, so I'm going to make them larger. Now what am I doing here? So normally you would go up to the top and do plus or minus. What I'm doing here is holding down the control key with my left hand. While depressing the control key, I'm just using my computer mouse scroll wheel to scroll up and down. That's all I'm doing here. So I'm going to use the biggest size possible instead of clicking that field in here, okay? So I'm going to open up music. Now the way I organize, I'm going to scale this back a little bit. I'm using my method that I just told you about. So I have lots of little folders, and all of these folders contained MP3s and other music files. And I recommend that you put your folders in this similar fashion and that you organize them in folders, or you can just dump all the songs in there. That's all up to you. I just like to do mine this way. And more importantly, when you open up that Lollipop application, it will import it nicely. Let's put it that way. All right, let me scroll this back up to make it big. So I'm going to pick on one artist in here. I'll pick on this one, Celine Dion. And I'm going to open this folder. So Celine Dion, I believe, is a Canadian songwriter. She's got a beautiful voice. New Day Has Come as one of her albums. And I'm going to scale these icons back to let you see there's absolutely no album art in here. They're all songs. So now I'm going to scroll back up. And I did this for a reason. So these are in two different file formats, and they're the same song. A New Day Has Come .mp3 and a New Day Has Come WMA. That's like a Windows file format, and hopefully you understand what an MP3 is. They're music files, both of them. Downstairs you'll see I'm Alive.mp3, I'm Alive WMA. When I open up the player, you'll see two of these. And it doesn't matter which one I click on, they'll both play. But I wanted to let you see the file formats are different. But the other reason I wanted you to look at is there's no album art whatsoever in here, and I only have the one folder for Celine Dion. I'm going to close that. I'm going to open up the Lollipop application. As soon as you open this thing, provided you have an internet connection, it starts looking for album art. You can see it pulling in right now. So right now I'm going to click on Artist, and it's already found that for Celine Dion. That was the one I pointed at. And here's the album art already. And here's an example of the duplicate songs that was referring to. There's a couple more downstairs somewhere. I don't really use scroll bars, to be honest with you. You'll see me on a lot of my videos, I'll do strange stuff like that. But anyways, I just find it easier for me. Maybe you feel more comfortable dragging. That's up to you. All right, so you can do a lot of things in here. You can create playlists and whatever else. And it's pretty simple to use. You hit that and it starts playing. Got your timeline. Got another album art here and here. And I'll hit pause. And then you got your, your back and forth key or skip track or whatever. But anyways, this is, I'm going to hit the hamburger menu. This is Lollipop. Music player by Gnome. So what I'm going to do is highlight that word, right click and copy the word. Because we're going to look that up in your software manager pop shop. If you're fairly new to Pop! OS, a special welcome to you. It's a fairly easy system to use. Software manager is pretty easy to use, and you can find other music players in here too. I'm just showing you one today. And I'm going to hit paste. So that's Lollipop. Let's click it open. So we have some screenshots or information. And for you new users, you may not see these little guys in here. If I move my mouse out of the way, you'll see it disappear. Let me give you a better example. Here's one right there. Okay, all right. So the screenshots on this one is different from the next one I'm about to show you. So you can see the name here, and then this says Pop! OS bracket Deb. Debian package. So the FlatHub sits below that one. And let's first talk about all this. So you got some more information down here, and you have an uninstall key because I have this installed. Otherwise, you will have an install key. Now, on the other hand, when I switch this over to the FlatHub Flatpak, this has an install key. These are also larger downloads, by the way. The actual download size may be smaller. It won't be that much smaller. It'll be around 900 to 800 megabytes. Unlike the other one, is a lot less. You'll find that it's very small compared to this one. Now, why is Flatpak a lot larger in size for downloads? Well, if you want to think about that like a container, a box. So Flatpak software has everything that it needs, all the goodies to play or do its function. In this case, it's a music player. It doesn't need anything from your system. It downloads everything that it needs. So essentially, Flatpak software runs like it's isolated. It runs in like a sandbox environment, if you want to call it that. It doesn't need anything else. That's why a lot of the software, it can be in the gigabyte range sometimes. Now, why did they come up with Flatpak software? That's flathub.org, by the way, if you want to look that up. So Flatpak software is supported by a lot of Linux distributions. If you go to flathub.org and click the setup, you will see Pop! OS and countless other Linux distributions. So they originally came up with Flatpak because they wanted to take the same piece of software and be able to download that to several different Linux distributions or distros. So hence they're kind of more compatible, if you want to call it that, because one Linux distributions might be a little slightly different. You know, a lot of people customize Linux distros or distributions. So Flatpak software in general is larger than standard packages or software. In this case, this one right here. That's all you got to remember. Now the screenshots were different, if you noticed. So again, I still have the arrow keys and they disappear when I kind of move out of the way. Okay, and sometimes they're hard to see. It all depends on how busy these things are. Keep in mind there's more information downstairs. So pick your flavor. I'm using this one. Now I'm going to close this and I'm going to open up the Firefox Web Browser and give you a couple of tips in Firefox. So for your folks that like large text, for instance, I'm going to bring up my own YouTube site and point out a couple of things while I'm doing this at the same time. So first of all, I just started this on Feb 9 and this is March 1. So roughly less than 3 weeks or around 3 weeks or less than a month. And I already have 50 videos. Now I'm going to show you an example of enlarging text really quick. And again, think about the subscription key the whole time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make the text very large. And you can probably guess what I'm doing. Some of you folks already know my little trick. I'm at 130% currently. I'm at 140. Is that comfortable for you? Okay. All I'm doing is holding down the control key on my keyboard with my left hand while scrolling up and down with my mouse to get it to the size I want. That's 140%. Let me give you the example of over here on videos. By the way, my thumbnails on a standard web browser are active thumbnails. There I am doing a demo. These are active thumbnails. Okay, the picture change, in other words. It all depends on your browser that you're watching this on. Okay, now I'm going to actually resize this thing. I'm going to go the opposite direction and make these tiny. Once I get them in the size that I want, I'm going to release the control key on my keyboard. And I'm going to roll over to this Pop! OS for a second. You see that picture change? Okay. I'm currently at 30%. But I can scroll in 30% because I'm not holding the control key down. Now I'm going to hold the control key down and go back up. Now I'm at 80% and still scrolling in that size. Now I'm going to go ahead and click the About section. And I'm going to scroll this up from 80 to, we'll leave it at 130. How's that? All right, so you can also put in @Linux for seniors. I'm going to highlight that and make it bigger. @Linux for seniors in a standard web browser. And you should be able to find Linux for seniors. If you're using your smart TV, I don't believe it even has this line here. Because I just looked at my neighbor. She has a Roku box and it doesn't display these. And the actual thumbnails are a little bit grainier on well, it could be her flat screen TV, but it was a little grainier on her TV than I'm used to seeing. But anyways, you can watch my videos on a big screen TV. So I have the playlists, and I have the community tab, and I have the videos, and you always have a magnifying glass on a standard web browser, not on a mobile device. You'll have this one on your mobile devices. And maybe even the, well, actually, I think her Roku box had the search bar over here. So all of these apps are different. This is a standard web browser. Again, this is Firefox. What does this thing do? Well, I'm going to click the About section and just let you see the magnifying glass is still here. So what I'm going to do is click that. I'm going to put in keywords like pop, and it's going to find all the videos on Pop! OS. As my library grows on any video for Pop! OS, that's all you need to do. So that one there is for the file manager, and you can see that's an active icon. It's changing. And that's for mouse pointers. These little guys. All of my videos also have chapters, so if you hit the player and you hit stop, you'll see these little lines underneath there. You can click them. More importantly, I would still subscribe because you can start watching the videos, hit stop, come back tomorrow, the next day or following week, and pick up from where you left off. So that's my tip for the day as far as resizing stuff, and now you know something about my YouTube site. So again, I have some links for you down here. And I have 5 up here. That's a limitation of YouTube. Again, you have to have a standard web browser to see these. On a mobile device, you won't see these. This is the coastline of Oregon, if you're curious. Oregon, USA. So I had a user the other day that left me a message stating they were 71 years old and they're very excited again about computers. That's a wonderful thing to hear. But again, as I pointed out right here, Linux is for any age. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and have a wonderful tomorrow.